Hey guys, welcome to the Garbage Time Podcast. I am your host, Katie Nolan. Today I'm joined by producer Dave.
Hey yo.
Hey yo. Coming up in a bit, you're going to hear my chat with this week's guest, Wyatt Cenac, who's great. I've been a huge fan of his for a while, so it's cool to have him here. But before we get to that, obviously, since producer Dave is here, you know what that means. Some hot fire Bachelorette chat.
Yeah.
Wow. Bachelorette sound drop.
So much to discuss at the Bachelorette.
So much that I have a notepad.
I love it. Before we get to this week's episode,
Okay.
like you got to talk to Jordan last week, which is
I
like
did.
everyone in Bachelorette
It's a hard word to
world.
say.
It's a hard word to say. Like that's like a big thing. And so I'm curious, a lot of people have, been talking about some of the things he said to you on the interweb.
I know. That got more pickup than anything he's ever done.
What, after speaking to him, do you think he won?
I don't know. He was a really nice guy, but all of his answers you could tell were very, practiced, and I can't say anything, and I can't, I can't say anything.
Yeah.
So I learned a little bit of things from him, but at the same time, I didn't learn that much. And it was interesting to see people be like, oh, Katie asked him on a date 3 times. She clearly wants that D. When they didn't realize that's just how Katie does investigative journalism.
Yeah.
I was trying to back him into a corner so that he would be like, well, I can't date you, I'm engaged. And then I'd go, oh shit, he wins. Am I good at it? No. But that was my journalism. That was me flexing my journalism muscles. If Jordan wanted to go on a date, I would not. Anyone whose hair throughout a date is going to need more touch-up than mine. Yeah. I can't be in on that.
You're not going to hit him up on Raya?
No, because I didn't get accepted to Raya. Fun fact, Ashley told me about Raya. For those of you who don't know, it's like a dating app for people that have a certain number of Instagram followers. It says it's a dating app for celebrities or something, and so Ashley was like, you should join. And I'm like, Ash, I'm not enough of a celebrity. And she's like, just try. So I went, and you literally have to apply, and then they use your Instagram profile as telling if you should be on or not. And I don't use my Instagram because I don't take pictures of myself because I'm not an asshole.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh fuck, I don't think I have enough followers on Instagram. But on Twitter I have 200,000, but they don't care about Twitter because dating isn't about what you say. It's about what you look like. Yeah. So I applied, and then after 3 weeks it was sorry, we do not accept you. That hurts more than not getting swiped right. It hurts. It's more rejection when I find out, no, you can't be part of this exclusive club of rich, famous, handsome people because you're not rich or famous or handsome enough. And I've just been eating a lot of ice cream, and I'm going to join OkCupid. Anyway, I don't think I would date him. The thing is, the thing about this show, and for me, it started to become too clear this week, that all you got to do is be not crazy. All you gotta do is not kiss her, right? All you gotta do is be the run-of-the-mill middle guy. Because the guys that are left, you're like, okay, this one's too this one's too that. But these 3 are all pretty much just flying right down the middle of the road. There's nothing cool or interesting or exciting about them, but they're not fucking up.
Yeah.
And so those are gonna be your final 3.
Yeah.
It's so not, it's not the thing I really like about Jordan is how when he plays poker, he makes sure he plays by the rules. Right. I don't know anything about any of these guys. Right. I know Luke wants to fuck the shit out of her.
That was uncomfortable
and I know
to watch.
she wants to bang Luke, but has that confused in her brain as passion. Ugh. Oh God, we're gonna have to take a break. The passion is overwhelming. You wanna fuck. Yeah. That's all. The makeouts are good, and you wanna bang each other for a long time. But at the end of the day, he's a weird-looking, squirrely kind of dude, and he's up to some shit. So sometimes, ladies, and this is some female empowerment shit, it's okay, just bang a guy. She just wants to bang him. You don't have to get engaged to him just because you're dying to bang him. And it's almost dangerous to extend this, she can't have sex with him until the fantasy suites, so that she's gonna think oh my God, we're in love, when really, sometimes things that present as love are just you really want to bang and you can't. You really want to bang and you can't. And then you do, and you're like, okay, that was cool for 2 months. And now I'm good. I banged Luke, and now I realize that he always kind of looks like he's smelling a fart. So maybe I'm not into Luke anymore.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. You kind of nailed it there, because like the guys that are left, it's obvious that JoJo's a little shallow, and that she's obviously keeping the guys around that she's the most attracted to, like you're saying now. But none of them have shown much personality at all. Like she's like the guy, like she's like, I really feel a connection to Luke, which obviously is a physical thing, or Robbie, or Jordan, or even Chase. It's like have I missed these like really like cool conversations they've had, or like, oh my God, I get it. He's so funny. Like he's so outgoing.
The craziest thing, how do you have a show that some weeks is 3 hours long, other weeks, most weeks 2, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about the 6, however many people left on the show. I know nothing about them. Right. And there was a scene this week where James Taylor, whose name I only remember because he's a singer, and so like there already is a James Taylor. I don't know, maybe you should, like I didn't come into this job and go, hi, I'm Michelle Beadle. And if I did, I'd change my name because somebody forged that path already. Yeah. He probably books gigs because people are confused and afraid to ask. Like, wait, James Taylor wants to play here? But so he goes into a date with JoJo and tells her about this time that he was with Jordan, and they're the closest friends in the house to each other. And they were playing a game of poker together because, you know, as Jordan told us in the podcast, there's really nothing else to do. Right. And then there was apparently some confusion about the rules, and Jordan, and just so James's story to JoJo. And by the way, we don't see this poker game. We don't see this epic fight because I imagine there wasn't enough time in the 2-hour show. We had to have that awkward tango scene instead. Fit that in.
We needed the soccer kicking competition.
We had to show Wells buying her a bracelet. So we hear about this poker story, and James tells JoJo that, you know, he says, you know, this is the rule, and I'm like, well, I don't think so, but, you know, it's Jordan. And JoJo goes, what does that mean? And he says, and like, this must have given Jordan the biggest boner because it's the only time anyone's ever said this about him. He's like, you know, he's a celebrity. He's Jordan Rogers. He's got that magic arm. And I'm like, did you know this isn't Aaron? You know he's not from the Packers? In what world is Jordan Rogers a celebrity with that great arm and he's so cool and famous? He said like he's in magazines. I'm like, what magazines is he in?
He got accepted on Raya.
Other than, you know, James Taylor would never get accepted on Raya unless they think it's because he's James fucking Taylor. It was a weird, like, he's a celebrity? What are you talking about? Not only was the story itself dumb, and then JoJo's like, thanks for telling me, James. I'm going to really talk to him about this. And she sits Jordan down and is like, I'm really concerned because I thought I knew you. And Jordan's laughing, and she's like, don't laugh. And he's like, don't laugh at the fact that another bro just told her that I played poker wrong and that I'm entitled? Like, it was the weirdest, most manufactured, dumbest shit I've ever seen. And it just made me go, okay, this show's bullshit. Like, obviously this show's bullshit, right? But like, what? Yeah. She just is picking the hottest guy because what else would you pick based on? Because one of them is telling you that there's poker tragedies and like that doesn't matter at all. And it was so weird. The weirdest thing about the whole episode for me, and I'm not going to get to the last scene because I know you wanted to ask me about that. So one of the first scenes when Wells finds out he's going on his solo date, and the solo date card says Besame, which means kiss me. And they're in a room with everybody who's left. I have to like reference their names because so many of them are plain vanilla. But they're all sitting on couches, and he picks it up and it says Wells, Besame, and he puts it down. He looks around, and this grown-ass man makes the conscious decision to say, okay, I'll be frank. I'm the one guy that hasn't kissed JoJo yet. First of all, how does he know everyone else has when no one else knows he hasn't, unless he's fed that by a producer? Hey, bro, everyone's kissed her, you know, so you should probably get out there and kiss her. Second of all, why admit that? Because exactly what you think would happen happens right away. Everyone's like, are you kidding me? Like teasing him. Yeah. Which again, third thing, very weird. A group of men who are all falling for the same girl being like, yo, bro, you didn't kiss her yet? What a pussy. I kissed her. Me too. High five. We're all making out with and in love with the same woman. Super weird.
Yeah.
Felt super like an orgy situation, like passing a girl, or I kissed her. Oh, I did anal. Woo, high five. Like, what are you doing?
Bro, you've known her for like 4 hours total. You haven't kissed her yet?
And not
Weirdo.
one person was like, well, yeah, I haven't kissed her because all of you haven't, and I don't like that concept. That would have been like crickets.
Whoa.
What? You have a weird life. So that happened. And then, of course, JoJo shows up to pick him up for the date. She hugs everyone, which is super weird, sits down, and then someone, I think it might have been Chase, like, so you guys gonna kiss today?
Ugh.
Oh my God. Is this like a second grade date when someone's like, have you kissed? Oh my God, you gonna kiss? Second grade was maybe early, like a sixth grade date. When everyone's like, oh my God, you kiss her? Oh my God, kiss each other. Oh my God. And then you like look at each other and like, hee, and it's super awkward.
we do it?
So then they go on a date to Fuerza Bruta, which I've been to before, and is like, you don't go on a date, your first solo or second, whatever, solo date with someone to Fuerza Bruta because it's very weird. And they make him do this performance art, and he's well, so like the poor thing. And it was just super weird and uncomfortable. And then they kiss, and possibly the worst reaction ever to a kiss. JoJo goes, you did it, Wells! That was the moment! And like cheers him on for kissing her. Holy shit.
I felt bad for him. I'm like, dude, you are way too normal to be on this show.
Too normal.
I'm like, you are just like a normal, like probably like shy guy. But like he's a radio DJ, so obviously he has a personality, but just like you're too normal. You just like get it.
He doesn't think it's cool to compete for like. Also, I don't think he needs to compete for fame because he's got a radio show, so he's fine. But like, then they make him go to dinner in the hottest room ever, and his face is sweating, and it's just like, oh no, she's gonna break up with him. But I guarantee you, he'll be the one that when this is all over and she breaks up with whoever she's engaged to at the end of the show, she's gonna be like, let's call Wells, because he was fucking normal. Unlike when everyone's like, I think Jordan's just here for fame. Yeah. What are you all here
100%.
for? Because he told us on the podcast, they don't even tell you who the Bachelorette is until you get there and like you're getting ready. So it's not like, oh, I researched her, I found qualities about her I like, and I'm here for love. You're all there because you all have agents.
Yeah.
That's why you're all like former whatever, or singer, model, actor, like you're all slashes because you are just looking for work and this is the job your agent booked you. So you're all there looking for fame, and if you fall in love, congrats, but that's not why you're there.
Oh.
You didn't even know this person before you got booked on this. Fuck you, there for fame.
Absolutely absurd. So Wells went home, and then obviously the thing that everyone's talking about this week.
Can the thing that everyone is talking about please be that Robbie looks like MacGruber?
Not
enough people are like,
great call.
MacGruber looking motherfucker. I forget that he exists because I know nothing about him, but every time they show him, I'm like, Gruber's still there. He looks like fucking MacGruber. Carry on. The actual thing everyone's talking about.
Okay. Is that there was a 2-on-1 date with Derek and Chase, and 2-on-1 dates, at the end of it, she always sends one of them home, keeps one of them.
Unprecedented, though. Never been 2-on-1 dates in one season. Producers made sure that line got in there.
Oh, man.
This is unheard of in Bachelorette history.
Insane.
For those keeping score.
So she sends Derek home.
You're glossing over the fact that they went on a 2-on-1 date to learn how to tango, and it was the most perfect encapsulation of what this show is, which is a carefully, meticulously choreographed and staged awful dance. That dance scene was like, what are they? It was like, I take him, and then he throws me to the other guy. But then they filmed it in a way that was like, if the dancing was good, this would be interesting. But they were both like, body. Oh, I'm with him, but I want to be with him. It was a perfect summation of what The Bachelorette is. It was so hard to watch.
And they would like zoom in on like, all right, how's this embrace? Like, she's now in Derek's arms. Is there chemistry there? Now she's in Chase's arms. And it's like, this is just
it was awful. No chemistry at all. Everyone looked like they didn't want to be there.
Right.
It was all about which guy am I less miserable around right now.
Unreal. So she has her one-on-one time with each of them after this awesome...
Cucumber Island out of here.
Yeah, she sends Cucumber Island.
Fuck you, Derek!
Peace out, Derek. So then, the big scene is that Derek is in a limo going home. Chase, at the same time, supposedly, Chase and JoJo are dancing while being serenaded by a
Sarah
singer.
Prosciutto.
Now they're in Buenos Aires,
Stephanie
Argentina.
Prosciutto.
It's important to know that they're in Argentina.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you say it like JoJo says it, they're in Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires, Argentina.
And by the way, I love wherever they are. They always get the lines from JoJo at the beginning, being like, "There's so much culture here."
I love being in Buenos Aires. I'm so happy. There's like I could just feel it. The culture and the energy and like mingling with the people. It's so beautiful and it's so romantic. And I'm really ready to find some love. Like I could do JoJo perfectly at this point.
It's a perfect place
just
to
like
fall
Luke.
in love.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. Boom. I hope everyone realized
Wait.
So the singer is singing Don't Cry for Me, Argentina from the musical Evita. While
She first is singing it in Spanish.
Yes.
So it's a little Easter egg
Yes.
for people who don't speak Spanish, or who do speak Spanish, and then she sings the chorus again in English. Just want that to be clear.
Even more, she's up above them on a platform, which is also just straight up out of Evita singing down to her people.
And I'm sure she's a wonderful singer, but they could have produced it a lot better because she's flat on like 2 of the notes that she holds, and it was like, what are we doing? Produce the show.
Yeah, seriously.
Make her do it again.
So as she's doing this, Derek is in a car going home, and he is crying. So they're
Sobbing.
They're singing Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. Derek is crying, and they cut these together as a perfect montage with the slowest of dissolves.
Oh, the dissolve between
slowest
scenes.
of dissolves into Derek crying as the words Don't Cry for Me, Argentina are being sung.
And he says, as he's crying and wiping tears from his face, he like to himself goes, don't cry.
Perfect.
And then, don't cry for me, Argentina. Just like comes out, and it's like, oh my God, what's happening?
Perfect. So I have to ask you, so I thought about this a lot.
I think we should just quit TV
I thought about this a lot. So I think there are 3 options of how this scene came to be.
Can we first mention that, because I don't want us to gloss over the fact that when he got into the car, he started talking about himself in the third person.
Oh, yeah.
He thought he was the one for her, but he's not. He's just Derek, and Derek isn't perfect. Derek has imperfections.
Poor Derek.
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Go to your home on Cucumber Island and don't ever talk to anybody again. You are the worst. Sorry. 3 things.
I think there's 3 potential things of how the scene came to be.
Okay.
I'm going to list them out for you. Don't give your answer yet. I want to hear which one of these 3 things you think happened. Option A.
Luke fucked JoJo.
Okay. Option A, they were in Argentina, so they're like, oh, we'll have this singer sing Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. And they just stepped in gold when Derek happened to cry in the car on the way home. And they're
Absolutely not.
Wait, you have to wait till the end.
Sorry.
So,
But
and
absolutely not.
So they're like, oh, well, of course she'll sing that song. We're in Argentina, so it makes sense. Derek cries. They're like, guys, this is perfect. We can cut these together as montage. That's option A. Option B, they just hired the singer to sing some songs. Derek starts crying in the car on the way home. The producer that's with him is like, yo. He calls the other producers, yo, Derek's crying. See if that girl knows Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, because that would be dope if she sings that, and then we can montage it with Derek crying. And they ask her, like, do you know Don't Cry for Me, Argentina? She's like, of course I do. We're in Argentina. They're like, cool, sing it. And then they put together as a montage. That's option B. Option C, as soon as they decided we're going to take these guys to Argentina, they're like, here's how we're going to end this 2-on-1 date. We're going to do a montage of a woman singing Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, while Chase and JoJo dance, and we'll cut it with Derek crying. So either Derek will cry or we will make him cry. So that was the plan along. No matter what, we're getting this montage scene of Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, and the crying, and if he doesn't give us tears, we will make him give us tears. A, B, or C?
I think B, but with a little bit of a twist. I think they probably drove Cucumber Island home. He started crying. They filmed a scene when JoJo went back of them dancing to an actually romantic song, and then probably were like, cut, broke everything down, and were like, oh shit, they found out he cried, and then they restaged the whole scene so that she could sing that song. Because it sounds like she wasn't ready to sing that song. That explains why she was a little flat and a little confused, and why like they cut it together in like Spanish and English. But when you really think about it, Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, not a romantic song.
At all.
At all. Like maybe a little, I don't know. I don't know anything more than the chorus. but doesn't seem like this is such a beautiful love song. I think it's like, I'll look up the lyrics, but like, the truth is I never left you all through my wild days.
I don't know Evita that well, but what I do remember from Evita is that like
you keep saying Evita.
Evita Perón is dying.
Oh shit!
When she sings
you do
this,
know it.
And I kind of a little bit, and I think it's like she's basically saying like, "Don't cry for me, Argentina. I'm dying, but like, just like remember what I did for you as a nation, and I never left you." It
won't be easy. Right. You'll think it's strange when I try to explain how I feel, that I still need your love after all that I've done. You won't believe me. All you'll see is a girl you once knew, although she's dressed to the nines at 6s and 7s with you. I don't know what the fuck that means. I had to let it happen. I had to change. Couldn't stay on my life down at heel, looking out the window, staying out of the sun. So I chose freedom, running around, trying everything new. Nothing impressed me. I never expected it to. Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is I never left you. Right. All through my wild days, my mad existence. I kept my promise. Don't keep your distance. Great. As for fortune and fame, but she's singing to a country, is she not?
Right. She's singing to the country and saying like, she's basically like, don't cry for me. Just like remember like everything I did.
Yeah.
So it's not romance at all. Like, zero romance. She's not singing to a person.
Don't cry for me, Jordan from the Bachelorette. Like it's not love. It's a song about like, I don't even know, but Not
at all.
So there's no way that would be the romantic song they would choose.
No.
I think after they saw him cry, they were like, opportunity, and then restaged the whole thing.
All right. I think they planned it, and they're like, we're going to get the crying scene.
And but if they got him to cry, I don't think he would go, don't cry to himself. Well, I think he'd say like.
Here's how I think that scene went. Okay. I think they're like, hey, they're like, all right, we got the singing. All right, we got to get Derek to cry. And the first producer's like, Derek, so you must be really down. You told JoJo you were falling in love with you, and she rejected you. And Derek's like, yeah, whatever, it's a TV show, I get it. And they're like, fuck. And then they're like, yeah, but Derek, remember how you told us how your ex-girlfriend left you for another guy and how it just hurt you forever? Like, this is just like that. Doesn't it bring up those feelings? He's like, I'm kind of over it. I'm an adult. And the third producer's like, Derek, we're going to need you to cry in this scene. So if you could just go ahead and do that. And Derek's like, okay, cool, I get it.
The fourth producer just starts chopping up cucumbers and he's like, no! Just like loses it. Maybe that explains then why he says don't cry, because he doesn't want to look like he's a pussy, but he wants to be like, I can cry on command. It's like, please book me for your next event.
Yeah, like, do you want to be on Bachelor in Paradise or not?
Oh my god.
Anyway, so but it was epic, and
one last thing. Yeah. Alex is letting himself go.
Yeah.
The first scene when they found out about Wells' one-on-one date, they're all sitting in that room. He's got like a beard. He's obviously shorter than everybody else. And he's got like his hair's all fucked up and he's like sitting like this on the couch. And he's like, cool, Wells, gonna kiss her or what? Like, fucking right? Like I picture that in between takes, Alex is just taking swigs from a flask, throwing it down the ground like, funny date, Wells. Oh, I'm Wells and I'm sober and I'm a radio DJ. Like, Alex, you're done, bro.
Yeah,
he just looks a hot fucking
amazing.
mess.
Great call.
Every cut they show of him, he's going,
great call.
Chug. He ain't right. Yep. I wrote Alex disheveled. Luke, chill, bro. Chase, whatever. Derek, cucumbers. Get the fuck out of my face. Jordan, whatever. Wells, aww. James, pussy ass bitch. Robbie, MacGruber. So that's how I remember
that's
everybody's names.
Strong stuff. I still have Robbie alive in my pool for, means nothing.
I can't stand MacGruber.
Yeah.
I this week was the first time that I watched the show and was like, I don't know if I can watch any more of these shows, because I'm not rooting for anyone. I don't really care. Jordan was nice enough, and I'm sure he'll win, but like, I don't think that anyone is in love with JoJo. I also don't think JoJo, there were so many moments this week where I watched JoJo do something with one of the guys that I was like, oh my God, she's producing for TV.
Yeah.
Where I saw her do like when Luke was talking and she's like tilting her head towards his mouth.
She gets it.
And he's talking and she's like, yeah, totally. And like holds his hand and like putting her mouth and like looking at the camera. And he's like, and I'm just really falling for you. And he's like turning her head and she's like, yep, definitely. Like, just kiss me, man. Like, she's trying to get him. And same thing with Wells when they're on Fuerza Bruta on that thing. She's like rolling around and then she's like, ha 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 ha. And he had to be like, not yet, not yet, not yet.
So
she's
good.
producing
She gets
them.
it.
She's doing that thing where she'll like, thank you so much for telling me. She always does this.
Oh, yeah.
pats the corner of her eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. It's like so amazing for
Yeah,
you. And then she cries every time she sends anyone home.
Of course.
She's so full of shit.
She wants a future in TV so bad. This is her
think she
audition
likes
for Guiding
any of
Light.
them.
Is that still on?
I think they're all still on. I don't think you can cancel a soap opera. That's how that works. But it's so weird because it doesn't make me endeared to you.
No.
If you're like, oh, I'm going to go be an actress, it's like, oh, so you acted that whole time. Why do people use this as a jumping off point?
Yeah, and it just never actually works.
Anyway, it's so, like, I know it's fake, so I'm going to get a lot of, like, duh, it's fake. But, like, it's so bad that normally at least there's one guy. I'm telling you, Chad. If Chad had stayed, I think she liked him. Because he was honest. And then he turned into, like, he went full heel turn. But, like,
too far heel.
Bring back Chad.
All right. Hashtag bring back Chad.
Bachelorette producers, hashtag bring back Chad.
All right.
What did you think of Jordan after we talked to him on the pod? He shouted you out a couple times.
He did. I thought he was a really cool guy. What I found the most interesting was how politically correct he was when you asked him about the other guys in the house. Even Chad, he wouldn't be like, that guy's a dick. Even guys like Derek, who were like, talk shit about him, he was like, we're all friends. And you're like, so what about your brother? And like, no hesitation, we have a complicated relationship. As if like if anything, that should have been the thing he was guarded with. Yeah. That was like, when people ask you about your famous brother Aaron, just say like, we're brothers, like, we just all root for each other, everything's cool. Instead, he was like almost like excited to like drop the like, it's complicated, like I want everyone to talk about that. That was interesting.
It was really interesting. It's weird.
And then everyone talked about it, so maybe he's smart.
That's true. It's true.
We'll see.
From what I hear, the other brothers in that family also don't have a good relationship with Aaron.
Oh, shit.
I wonder if it's that they're just like jealous because he's super famous and popular and rich and good at sport.
Right, and dating Olivia Munn.
That too.
Who knows? Still think Jordan wins, but
yeah, probably does. But you never know. MacGruber does some pretty impressive shit. You give him a rubber band and a screw, and he might be able to. I don't know.
Win JoJo's heart.
You can't give him a screw because Luke takes all of them. Oh. They just need to bang. Just bang each other.
It's what
what the people want.
He'll be in the fantasy suite any week now.
Yeah, he'll be in all three of them. Can you imagine her having sex with James Taylor? Like, have fun with that. That sounds awful. He's going to be like, so did Jordan do it better?
Oh, okay.
Oh, Jordan's got that magical arm. Oh, it's Jordan's dick. He's just so famous, and he's got that famous dick. Earlier this week, guys, there's a transition. Let's go from Jordan Rogers' dick to Wyatt Cenac. He came in, we chatted. If you watched the show last night, you probably saw we did a little bit within there, but we got a little more in-depth in the pod. It was really cool of him to stick around. We talked about how we got an internship at SNL. We talked about the audition process at The Daily Show and what it was like going back for Jon Stewart's last show, which I imagine was crazy. Yeah. And we talked about like if he still watches The Daily Show and interesting answer there. So take a listen. Wyatt, thanks for being here and doing this podcast.
Thanks for having me.
And for doing the TV show. That was really cool too.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're going to cut it out because it wasn't funny, but I mean, it was nice of you to do it.
I just like the exercise of it. Mm-hmm. I just like, you get better through practice.
Yeah, getting some reps.
Yeah. Oh, the amount of shows I've done where it's never made the air.
Really?
Oh, but I got the practice. Yeah.
Which is more rewarding than actually being rewarded.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I always say.
They call me Test Show Cenac.
It's a clunky nickname, but I like it.
Yeah. If you got a test show, I'm your
man. I'm
your guy.
Let's start at the beginning of your career because you've had quite an interesting path. When did you first start doing comedy?
I first started when I was in college, was when I first got interested in it. And so when I was in college, I got an internship at SNL. I dropped out of school and moved to New York for a semester. And so I did that, I think, my sophomore year of college.
But so you weren't doing comedy before that? You just started working at SNL, just
sort of
jumping in at the
bottom.
I
mean, I was interested in it, but I kind of dipped my toe in a few things when I was in high school and in college, but I didn't really think it was attainable until I got the internship. Then being in New York and seeing things get made, it then felt like, oh, I might be able to do this. If I could get this internship, then I should be able to actually make a career out of this. And when I got back to college, then I started doing a little bit of stand-up in North Carolina. And then after I graduated, moved to Los Angeles and then fully committed to it.
So how did you get that internship at SNL? You wrote letters to Lorne Michaels?
Yes. I wrote a bunch of letters to Lorne Michaels. I'd always wanted to work on SNL, and I didn't know how, and nobody in North Carolina knew how, and so I had seen Later with Bob Costas, and he had interviewed Rob Schneider, and in the conversation, Rob Schneider he'd said, oh yeah, I sent a letter to SNL, and maybe I misheard it or something, but I was like, that's it? It's that easy? And I figured, because it was on so late, I figured, oh, this is the secret, because nobody's watching Later with Bob Costas but me. And so I wrote a letter, and I put some sketches in it, and I said, I would like to be a writer and performer on your show. And they sent everything back, and they said, we can't read it. And I kind of took that to mean can't or won't, and didn't understand that legally they couldn't read my sketches. So I just sent it again, and I just kept doing it. And then I started sending it, like I started going through the credits, and I found like producers and writers, and I sent it to them. And eventually, one of the people at the show, this woman Karen Nathanson, reached out to me. Or actually, no, she didn't reach out to me. One of Lorne's assistants reached out to me one day. I got a phone call, and I think it was on some level like, stop sending us this mail.
You're harassing us at this point.
Yeah, but I guess my letters were nice enough that it wasn't like, give me a thing. And my letters then eventually had also gotten more desperate, where I was like, I would like to be a cast member and a writer. And then after a few months was like, I'll also take an internship. That's how this works, right? And so one of Lorne's assistants, this guy named Matt Enstis, called me. And he said, look, this is why we legally can't read the sketches.
Why?
Because if they'd read the sketches and then it just so happened a similar sketch was on the air, then it would seem like either they stole my idea, or like, it's just that kind of...
plausible deniability if they don't even look at it.
Like there's parallel thought, but I have evidence that you got the thing and you read it, and now you've got a sketch that's similar to this sketch I wrote. You stole my sketch. Lawsuit. So they couldn't read it, but he said, I saw that you're interested in an internship, because even when he called, I was like, you're gonna make me a cast member? And he was like, slow down.
Nope.
Slow down, cowboy. And so then he said, if you're interested in an internship, contact this woman, Karen Nathanson. And so I reached out to her. And then school had started, and I flew out to New York, like the first or second week of school. I went out to New York. They offered me the internship. I came back to school. I dropped out, and then I actually pissed off the chancellor at Carolina because I was asking for my money back.
And do they do that?
They don't like to. They get really upset about it.
Because they don't have any money.
Yeah, no, they're just a struggling little startup. A struggling little startup that's just trying to keep the lights on. And so I remember by the end having to write letters and like go to the chancellor's office and bug them in the office, and eventually they were like, fine, we will give you your money back, but prorated for the 2 weeks that you were here.
Come on.
Yeah.
So that was probably like a couple grand too, because college is redonkulous.
Well, at that time, I was in state, and at the time, it was still, it was a lot of money to me. It was like, I think at that time at Carolina, in state was maybe $5,000 for the year.
Oh.
Which, yeah,
nowadays is not a thing.
No, nowadays people are like, whatever. Like, what are you complaining about? But at the time, I was like, that's a lot of money. Yeah. I can't imagine. Yeah. Now, I went back to Carolina maybe 10 years ago, and I talked to somebody, a parent, and I said, oh, how much is in-state? And in-state was what out-of-state was when I was in school, which was like $16,000.
So much money.
It really is.
But at least a degree guarantees you a job.
Yeah, I can say for sure that my North Carolina degree has gotten me every job I've ever gotten.
What's your degree in?
Communication studies.
Oh, so that kind of related to what you do.
Well, they didn't have a proper TV film department, so it got lumped into communication studies. But communication studies was also like this catch-all for anything.
Do you remember the sketches that you wrote and sent to Lorne?
I don't. I was actually, as I was talking about it, I think there was one about M&Ms.
The candy,
yes.
not the wrapper.
Yes, I think there was, but I don't remember what it was. I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
Because that would be amazing to go back and, like, now use them somehow, or realize that they were awful.
Well, so when I was in college, I did stand up a little bit in college, and the first place I ever did stand up was a club in Raleigh, North Carolina called Charlie Goodnights, and that was the first place I ever did stand up, and I did it. It terrified me. The first they give you 3 minutes. I burned through my set in a minute and a half, and then just ran off stage. And I remember the headliner was this guy who he'd come in, I think, from New York, and he was like, "Oh, that was good stuff. Like, you should do another minute of it, and you might have something there." But it was like such great validation, and at the same time, he was strapping fake dynamite to his chest because part of his joke was that he was of Middle Eastern descent, and so in the middle of his set, he would open his jacket and have dynamite.
Hilarious!
Yeah, but this to me was like, you're a big-time comedian telling me to keep it up. But I say all that to say that 20 years later, I got to go back to Charlie Goodnights. I'd not been there in 20 years, and I got to headline at Charlie Goodnights. And so I started by doing the set, the open mic set. I came out and I was like, I haven't been here in 20 years, and the first time I was here, it was my first time doing stand-up, and I would like to do, I didn't get to do the full 3 minutes. I ran through it too fast. I got nervous, so I would like to do my 3 minutes, and I did my 3 minutes, which it didn't hold up.
No?
No.
Didn't stand the test of time?
It did not, no. Yeah, a lot of jokes about how in West Virginia you got to keep your roadkill, which was, that was something that had come up at the time. It was topical.
Was it?
Yeah, well, for 20 years ago.
I
it was
bet.
Topical humor about how West Virginians made a law that made it legal to keep your roadkill. Because, I don't know if you know this, but people in North Carolina have kind of a negative view of West Virginians.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they think they're hillbillies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, now I know. I'm learning so much.
Yeah.
I thought the end of that story was that the guy with the dynamite was still going to be the headliner. Like, I finally went back, and he was still there doing his dynamite bit, much less funny now.
Yes. No, he works in finance now.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Oh.
I found this out because there was a comedian, there's a comedian that a few New York comics that I know who came up with him, and one of them was like, I think I know who you're talking about, and he's a finance guy now.
Unless that was some other guy who strapped fake dynamite to his chest. And said, no, that's actually the other one.
Yeah.
There are two
At the
of
time,
them.
it was very popular. Yeah.
Like, Gallagher wasn't the only one smashing watermelons. He just was the one who got famous for doing it. Sometimes
Exactly.
those bits swap with each other.
Somewhere there is a very bitter comedian, more bitter than Gallagher, who is who's become a very bitter guy himself. But there is another person that's even more bitter. That's like, that was me, man.
That was my bit.
You stole that from me. That was, man. That was I was the fruit smasher. You were just a guy coming in smashing vegetables till you saw that. Oh yeah. You saw Eddie. You saw Eddie smashing watermelons and cantaloupes and. You stole my bit.
Still hilarious, that bit.
Yeah.
It holds up. You have a story, there's like a Norm Macdonald soccer story from your time at SNL?
Yes.
Tell me this story.
So when I was an intern, because I wasn't in school at the time, I would just hang out there. And I was living with my grandmother who didn't have cable or anything like that. So I would just stay there till the wee hours of the morning. and it would be me and whatever writers and cast were there, and I would just watch TV and I would write sketches on the computer and just hang out. And so after a certain hour, some of the folks in the office would get a little loopy and they'd want to play soccer. And usually it was Colin Quinn and Norm Macdonald. And so they would always want to play soccer. And Colin was great to me. He's still been such a great person to me. But Colin would always get me on his team. And so it would be me and Colin and then Norm and whoever he could get. And on this one particular day, it was me and Colin, it was Norm and Stephen Colbert, who was guest writing at the time. And so it's a very weird thing that 20 years or however much longer later we met again. But it was the four of us, and Norm and Colin had been sort of jawing at each other all game because Norm, he's a gambling addict, so he's very much a competitor. At the time, he was also trying to quit smoking, so he was really agitated.
Stressed out.
Yeah, and so he and I got into a little bit of a scrum for the ball, which wasn't a soccer ball, it was a little mini basketball. And so we're like in this scrum, and I kind of clip him in the shin, because we're just like going, trying to sort of get the ball from each other. I get him in the shin, he gets really upset, grabs me, and tries to throw me across the room. And so I, not thinking about the caste system of intern and on-air personality, I'm like, get the fuck off me. And I just shoved him off of me. And so then he shoved me, and then I shoved him, and we got in this huge shoving match, and we had to get pulled apart. And so Colin winds up taking me down one hallway, and a bunch of the update writers had come out and have Norm. And so we both kind of cool down, and Colin and I go back out to kind of squash it. And I remember we're standing there, and one of the update writers says something that just like, it was like the fire is out, and then one of the guys just threw a lit match back on it, and we both are like, all right, fuck this, and we start going back to each other. And I think both of us had this moment where, I know for me, I was thinking, okay, we're going back, we have to actually throw punches now. Like
you can't go back and keep pushing.
Right. And so, but as we're doing this, I'm thinking, if I punch first, I'm going home. And this
Forever.
has been my dream, was to be at SNL. I can't punch first. And I think in his mind, he might have been thinking, if I punch an intern, like I am going home forever. And so there was no way to communicate that I couldn't communicate to him like, I won't sue you. And so we're both sort of just awkwardly like this, and then we just go back to shoving each other.
Awful.
And it was such a this was such a lame sort of second act of this fight. What a horrible second round. And so then we get pulled apart again, and I remember the next day, people, I was just so embarrassed because I was just like, oh, this, like, I could still go home for this, and I'm there, and some of the writers and other people were coming up to me early in the morning, and they were just like, hey, we heard, and I was just like, no, fuck. And they were like, oh, no, it's cool, like, no, Norm's an asshole that way, that's why we don't, like, one of the guys was like, that's why we don't play sports with him anymore, he's an asshole that way. And then Norm would come walking in and be like, Norm, what's up, buddy? And it was just like, oh, and then they'd be like, he's such a jerk. Hey, buddy, yeah. And
so nice to him. So you never got to punch Norm Macdonald in the face?
I never punched him, and then when I left, we squashed it. Like, we had squashed it, and then, but when I was leaving, I remember I went to him and I was just like, hey, man, I just want to say, that thing was weird, but you were somebody that I thought was really funny, and I still do, and I enjoyed you. I've always enjoyed you on Weekend Update, and I think he was maybe dressed as Bob Dole at the time, and he was like,
which makes that so much funnier.
Yeah, and he was like, thanks, Wally, and because he never
close.
Yeah, he never got it. He never got my name correct, but it was like, and then so it was like, oh, okay, cool, and then. Yeah, I think we've maybe run into each other once since then, but I've never really seen him but yeah, the other players in that story, Colin and Steven, I then later in life
saw a lot of.
Yeah, and Steven, when we first met, we were talking about it, and I reminded him of the story, and he was like, "Oh my God! Like I wonder what happened to that kid." And it was like, here I am. It's
I'm the intern. All right, guys, more with Wyatt in a minute, but first I want to tell you about Blue Apron, the food delivery service that is a game changer. It makes your life so much easier. They deliver fresh ingredients right to your house, and then you cook them and you make a delicious meal. I'm a terrible cook, but lately I've been a dope-ass cook because I've used Blue Apron, and they make it super, super easy. They have fresh, high-quality ingredients. They taste better, and they're better for you, so it's important to know where your food comes from. For less than $10 per meal, so it's a steal, Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. They set the highest quality standards for their community of artisanal suppliers, family-run farms, fisheries, and ranchers, whether it's Japanese ramen noodles, wild-caught Alaskan salmon, or heirloom tomatoes. The tomatoes are really, really good. Blue Apron is bringing you the best. New recipes are created each week by Blue Apron's culinary team and are not repeated within a year, which I usually cook the same meal 3 times a month if I cook at all. So it's kind of nice to have all this variety and also to be really good at cooking it, which is weird. Plus, there's no weekly commitment, so you only get deliveries when you want them, and each meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card and pre-portioned ingredients and can be prepared in 40 minutes or less. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals for free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/garbage. You'll love how it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. That's blueapron.com/garbage. Today's podcast, guys, also brought to you by SeatGeek, which, as you know by now, if you listen to this podcast, is the only place I ever go to look for tickets to a game or a concert. I have the SeatGeek app on my phone, and I use it all the time. When I'm not Googling lyrics to Evita, I use it to look up tickets to Evita. Where they don't have those. But if there were tickets to Evita available, you can find them on SeatGeek. And SeatGeek has taken all the work and hassle out of shopping for tickets. They pull all the tickets available on other sites into one place, so you just have to go to one place, not 80,000 places. You never miss a deal, and you save a bunch of time. You can even set alerts for upcoming events, and SeatGeek will let you know if ticket prices fall. Even better, every ticket on SeatGeek is ranked based on value, so you can immediately find underpriced seats. And before you buy, you can use SeatGeek's detailed maps to see the view from your seat, which is dope. Best of all, SeatGeek is always honest and upfront about price. Unlike StubHub, they show you the full ticket price from start to finish and never try to trick you with huge fees on the checkout page. My listeners get a $20 rebate off their first SeatGeek purchase. So do Dave's listeners. To get your $20 rebate on tickets, download the free SeatGeek app, go to the settings tab and click add a promo code. Enter promo code KATIE. SeatGeek will send you $20 after you've made your first ticket purchase. So download the free SeatGeek app and enter promo code Katie today. All right, back to Wyatt Cenac. Snack time. So let's talk about the other obvious big job that you had, was working on The Daily Show. How did you write letters to Jon Stewart with sketches in them?
No, so it was funny because I'd auditioned for the show probably like 4 or 5 times and never gotten it. And so then they were having auditions again, and my manager at the time, this guy Dave Rath, was like, "Hey, they want you to audition." I was like, "I don't want to do that. I've already done it. Like they are not interested in this jelly." And it was a different time. It was a hot song. Everyone was saying that it was of the time. Now people, like 10 years from now, people are gonna be like, "Why did everybody say bae and woke all the time?" This was jelly. Jelly was our woke bae. Mm-hmm. But I was like, they're not interested. They've had opportunities, and he really pushed me into doing it. And I wouldn't have done it if he had not pushed me into doing it. And this particular time, they let me write my own audition piece, because what they used to do, and I don't know, they may still do it, but when you would audition for the show, they would give you a script that had already been done on the show by a correspondent. Oh. So it would be in that, like it would say like Steven or like John Oliver. And so when I would do the auditions, the scripts would be like, I remember one year it was a Steven script and it was a Cordry script. And you'd go into the audition, and Hollywood, the inclusive place that Hollywood is, the way they do the way they would do the auditions would be over a day. Each block was a different ethnic group.
Oh, good.
So there would be an hour where it's just Latino guys that they were looking at, and then followed by the black guy hour, and then the Asian guy hour, and then if they had time, maybe ladies. But if they had time,
but just white ladies.
Yeah.
Can't go crazy.
Yeah. There are other ladies,
No,
Katie.
you're right.
But I remember one year in particular, I went and I was at the start of the black guy hour, and I got there early, and so Latino guy hour was wrapping up, and the script was Stephen, and so there are all these people trying to do Stephen Colbert impressions because it was written for Stephen, and it's in his cadence, it's in his particular style of humor, and so I'm just watching all of these Latino Stephen Colberts walk in.
Esteban Colbert.
Yes, yeah. And then the black Colberts would come in, and everyone is trying to do it in the same cadence, and some of them have glasses, and it was such a weird thing. And so this particular year, they let me write my own thing, and because I got to write my own piece, I think that is the reason I got the job, because I put it in my voice. And then I auditioned in LA, they flew me to New York, I did the audition there with Jon, and I remember I made him laugh in the audition.
That's huge.
It was, and then afterwards, he was like, when can you start? And I was like, in my mind, I was like, that's not funny. I didn't think he was really giving me a job. I thought like, oh, that's a weird thing to do to a person. And I was dead broke at the time. I just lost my apartment and my car, and I was living with a friend, and I was just like, why would you do that? And then they sent me to another room, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And so I'm sitting in this room for like 45 minutes, and then eventually one of the EPs is like, hey, do you want to take a tour of the place? And I'm like,
why are you doing this to me?
Why? Like, no one has offered me a job. Why are you showing me the thing I might not get? And so they're showing me around, and people are kind of popping their heads out of offices, and they're like, oh, we watched your audition. And I was like, wait, that was, other people could see that? And they were like, yeah, it was on the feed, and like, good job. And they kept me there for like an hour and a half, and at this, no one has offered me a job. And I'm just like, I don't know, like, what is going on? And at some point I was like, I need to leave. And I was like, this is just uncomfortable. And I was like, hey, I gotta get out of here. And Colbert's show was a block away, and I had a friend, this woman Laura Kraft, who was a writer on the show. And so I went to go visit her, and she was like, oh, how'd the audition go and stuff. And we're standing outside, and I get a phone call from my manager, Dave, and he calls, and so Laura's there, and I put it on speakerphone, and so he tells both of us that I've been hired. And so what they never told me was when Jon said, when can you start, he actually was offering me the job. I just had no clue because it was in such a casual way.
And also it's Jon, and you assume there's another person that comes in and is like, here's the paperwork, you got the job.
Right, and
like,
then
it's weird.
Yeah, and then they sequestered me for 45 minutes by myself. So it was like, I don't know, like everything about it. And so I found out on the street outside of Steven's studio with Laura Kraft, and Laura got so excited. Like I'm not the person that gets like, very like screamy or anything like that. But Laura was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. This is so great. This is so great. And she's being very loud. And so as I'm leaving, the whole like audience line for Steven's show is queued up, and they're outside, and they are maybe like 15 feet away from us. So they've just heard Laura screaming like, congratulations, this is so great. And I had to walk past them to like leave. And all these people in the line are like, congratulations, for what? And I'm just like, you'll see. And just kind of like, well, you'll see in a few weeks. And then I got the job, and then I had to fly back to Los Angeles. And initially they told me I would have a week to pack up my things, and then they had said, oh, actually, can you come back like in 2 days, like after the weekend?
Oh my God.
Because we want to do your audition piece, we want to do it on air. Like Jon really liked it, and so he wanted to do it, and that was the first thing I did on the show, was what I auditioned with. And it was such a cool experience to get to do that. And then I remember once he commented how we had our, we had the schedule of the week and how things would slot in. I remember once he kind of said yeah, it's weird because I don't think about it this way, but like I just moved a note card, but that changed your entire life. And it was like, yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. Like, to you, it was a note card. To me, it was, if I didn't get that job, the alternative I had at the time was maybe I'd found somebody who was going to sell me a 1970s pickup truck for $1,000.
That's
because I had no money. And it was like, I was living with a friend. I was so broke that I'd borrowed money from 2 friends to take a woman out on a date, and it was still not enough money.
Oh.
Like early in the date, she ordered a bottle of wine, and then I just had to fess up and say, I only have $60, and I borrowed most of it. And then she, to her credit, was like, you said you were a comedian. I didn't think you had money. I'm paying for this. And so yeah, it was very sweet. But so I had this whole plan. I'd gotten a job doing some voiceover on a Nickelodeon show that was going to cover the cost of the truck. I still could, like, my friend was going to float me for as long as I could in her apartment. I had been offered, there was maybe an offer coming in to write on this Comedy Central show called The Chocolate News. And that was the alternative, was if I don't get the Daily Show, maybe this thing will maybe this other stuff. But yeah, to them it was, oh no, it was a note card. And I was like, no, it's the difference of me driving a Sanford & Son pickup truck.
Which you would have looked really cool in, to be fair.
Yeah, no, and I used to drive old trucks, but they are not good for LA traffic.
No.
And so it would have been me driving a Sanford & Son truck to go work at The Chocolate News.
Which sounds like was it a hit? Did it air?
It aired. It did not last long.
No.
It was not long for the network.
Nor did The Daily Show. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, no, most people haven't. Yeah.
So you had to move to New York.
In a weekend.
And so, but like with no money, did they help you get a place? Like how does that happen?
They put you
New
up
York is not cheap.
It is not cheap. And one of the fascinating things that I learned about television is just because you get the job, they don't start paying you until the contract work is done. And so I had no money. I moved to New York. They put me up in a hotel for a week. Then they were like, yeah, good luck finding a place.
Fly away, bird.
Yeah, and I didn't know, I didn't know how to find a place. It just happened that one of the segment producers on the show, he and a friend of his lived in Lefferts Gardens in Brooklyn, and they had a 3-bedroom apartment, but they were using one of the bedrooms as a storage closet. And so they were like, if you want to live here, you can. And so for 3 months, I slept on the floor of their storage closet on like an air mattress.
While doing The Daily Show.
While on television.
That's insane.
And so it's this very weird thing of, yeah, my life has changed overnight, and now I'm getting on the train and people are like, hey, I saw you on that thing. And then I'm going to this apartment in Lefferts Gardens and just sleeping on the floor and watching. I had like a little mini DVD player where I would watch The Wire and just like, and it was just this, and it was like, yeah, this is Hollywood, huh? This is TV living.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, but it wasn't until until everything got signed that checks could come in. So my management floated me a little cash, so I had some cash that way. the show gave me breakfast and lunch, so
Very nice
I
of
had
them.
those. I had those pretty much covered, and yeah, it was weird. And then the Republican and Democratic national conventions happened, so for about 3 weeks we were on the road, which was great because then for that stretch all my meals were paid for. I had a per diem.
A bed.
I had a bed. I had an actual bed.
A room with no one else's stuff in it.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, and so for the first, it wasn't until then after that, I think I got a sublet after all that, after about 3 months and change. I got a sublet, but I had no credit, so I could only sublet for a few years until I could, I had debts. I had my car had been repoed, so I had to finish paying that off. My first year, 2 of the show, my first 2 years of the show were paying off my car, paying off the credit cards I'd been living on I'd been living on credit cards for about 5 years, where credit cards were sort of, for a little while they were supplementing what little income I had, and then they became the entirety of my income.
Oh my God, that's so stressful.
Yeah.
And you still went to work and had to be funny and smile and
Yeah.
and meanwhile you're like, I have crippling debt.
Oh yeah, no, it was so bad. And so, the first 2 years were just climbing out of that.
Wow.
It was such a strange thing.
But you're out.
Yes, now, yes, that's all it takes. That's all it takes is
just keep fighting.
Keep fighting, get on TV, and then
You'll get out of your credit card debt.
I feel like if that's a lesson, if you've got credit card debt or student loans, get on TV. I remember talking to Sashir Zameda, who's on SNL, about that she, getting on SNL was what allowed her to pay off her student loans, and she said she remembers that feeling of, I actually wrote the last check, and there are that is such a minority position to be in. That I didn't have, my college was so cheap that I didn't have, even still at the same time, I said college was $5,000. That was still not as much. I didn't have to get student loans to pay that off. And it's crazy to think that there are people, there are 60 and 70-year-olds still paying.
Insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Thank you.
For getting out of all of it. You got to go to Jon's last show, obviously.
I did go to the last show.
What was that like?
It was weird.
Everyone was there. It was crazy.
It was very strange, because I think it was one of those things where it felt a little bit like a living wake, because everybody is sort of emotional about it, but the guy's right there.
And he's gonna keep living after this moment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it's strange in that way, because it's less about the people who are performing this thing. It really was a show. It's a show for the audience, and so to me, it just felt like, oh no, this isn't necessarily this doesn't feel like a weird goodbye. This doesn't feel like a goodbye for me or anybody else. It feels like this is a TV thing, and it just felt very strange in that way. That I didn't find myself overly emotional, because I think a lot of the people who were working there were still going to be working there.
Right.
And I think for Jon, he had other things he wanted to do, and so there was this. I think if it was emotional for anybody, it was him. But it was this. It's also, oh no, I know you, and you. When I worked with you, you were exhausted from doing this day after day after day, and doing this thing that is, we never ran out of people and things to rail about. And railing about those things didn't necessarily change those, change stuff. So it was, so I think I can say doing it for almost 5 years, it got exhausting. So to me, it was like, oh no, you've been doing this for 16 years. if you want to go, man, go. Like I was exhausted after 5, and yeah, if I had to do 16, I think I'd be pretty fucking tired myself.
That aspect of the job really did weigh on you, like the things you were talking about, and probably after 5 years seeing a pattern of like, we talked about this 2 years ago and nothing changed.
Yeah, it starts to, you do feel the cyclical nature of it all, and that, you know, these things happen and you get upset about them, or you get outraged, or you see other people get outraged, and then nothing changes. And at some point, I think a part of you can't help but internalize it in a way that's like, well, am I actually helping or hurting? Am I, by sort of creating, you know, by creating this outlet for people's frustrations to be vented through, am I letting them off the hook of, like, they now feel, oh, I don't feel as frustrated because I laughed about it? But also, does that let them off the hook where they can be a little more apathetic and not do anything? Where, yeah, you like, you know, you still need to be committed, you still need to vote, you still need to do all those things.
Yeah.
Just watching this show shouldn't be the sort
like,
of
I
salve.
feel better, I'm good now.
Yeah, and so I think after 5 years, I couldn't help but feel a sense of that. That's like, oh yeah, this feels like I don't want to feel like I'm letting people off the hook of responsibility, that, oh, you're mad, and then you watch us get mad, and now you feel better because they got mad for me and they said all the things I wanted to say. And it's like, yeah, but the thing that you can also do is vote or get involved locally with what's going on in your neighborhood or in your district. And that will, because we're just going to come right back to this in another year, 2 years, 3 years. And so that, it really does, it got very exhausting after a while, that sense of, yeah, we've yelled about this.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I feel like you could see it in Jon, like towards the end there, where it was just like he would throw his hands up, like, what am I supposed to say at this point? Like, we've done this so many times.
Yeah, especially with like the, you know, you think about all the tragedies, especially like the shooting, you know, gun-related tragedies that would happen, where I think, you know, everyone thinks about the moment after, when the show came back after 9/11, and how he gave this heartfelt sort of direct-to-camera sort of just moment, speech, whatever. And I think, you know, you probably hope to only have to do that in rare occasions. And then, especially towards the end of the run, there were a lot of those moments, whether it was Sandy Hook or whether it was Trayvon Martin, you know, whether it was, you know, the shooting in South Carolina at the church, and just all these things that it's just exhausting. And it's sad. What's really sad now is it says something about how jaded our society's become, that when the shooting in Orlando happened, I remember there was one of the online news sites did a roundup of how each late night host dealt with the shooting. And that's weird that that is now a mantle of responsibility that has to be carried out by every late night host, that you somehow have to make this make sense to people. But then there is this weird sort of unwritten competition that is also thrust upon you by some website that is compiling them and saying, well, let's see how Seth handled it.
Fallon's tears were a little bit more believable.
Yeah.
Ew.
And it's just, that's such a strange,
so weird.
That's such a strange thing that exists. And at that point, it's kind of like, well, wait, then has this been commodified in a way that this just doesn't have weight anymore? That, you know,
Yeah. Ew. Ew. I could talk to you for hours about all these things. Really quickly, do you still watch Daily Show with Trevor now?
I stopped watching the show after I left.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're busy too. Like, I imagine you don't watch a lot of TV.
I'm busy, but it's also, you know, in a weird way, I kind of liken it to like being an athlete, in that if you played professional basketball and then you retire, there's a part of watching professional basketball where you start thinking like, oh, I want to get out there. Like if I was on the court, I'd have done this.
Yeah.
And
it's like FOMO, but like on a much bigger stage of like, why am I watching people do the thing I kind of want to go do?
Yeah, and so to me it felt, I found myself thinking, oh, every now and again if one of my friends did something, or there's something that somebody says, oh, check this out, I'll check it out, but I just sort of walked away from it because my initial instinct was, I wrote on the show, and so I can watch a headline and I can pick it apart, where I'm watching it and thinking, oh, that's the joke you went with, or oh, that's interesting. I see, but also I can see it a few moves ahead, where I'm watching it and I know, okay, and now you're gonna do this, and this is gonna happen. And if that thing happens a little differently, or it doesn't happen, or it happens exactly, my mind gets really critical about it, and so I was kind of like...
Not as enjoyable.
Yeah, it feels like it. Yeah, I imagine it's... Yeah, to me it always felt like what an athlete probably feels watching other athletes. That I'd rather just be like, you know what, go have fun and go do it, and every now and again I'll watch it, but I'm not, unless I'm trying to get a front office job, no reason to...
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Tell me about the new show, which premieres this weekend.
This Thursday.
This Thursday on not Netflix, Seeso.
Seeso.
And it's called Night Train.
Night Train.
And it's a bunch of stand-up.
It is.
Put together in a show, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
So yeah, it's a kind of stand-up variety type show. It's based on a real show that I do every Monday in Brooklyn called Night Train, and so we shot 6 episodes, and the idea was to try to capture what the live show is like for television as best we could, and that's always been kind of a challenge. I feel like stand-up on TV is always a strange thing. And so we really worked hard to try to capture it and make it a kind of fun thing. But there are a lot of really talented comedians who were on it. Michelle Wolf, who we talked about in the stuff we shot earlier, is on it. Sashir Zameda from SNL, John Benjamin and Eugene Merman, who are both on Bob's Burgers, Janine Garofalo. Yeah, just a really talented group of folks.
And you guys do a really great job. It's in a smaller venue, and you use these interesting camera angles that I don't think I've ever seen anybody do a stand-up show using that, with these interesting cuts and wipes, and it really does a great job of showing a small show, as opposed to, normally like a Netflix special or like anything else is just a big venue.
Right.
Not your special, obviously, which was in a small one, but it was, mostly they're in the crowd sweeping shots.
Exactly.
This was more intimate.
And I feel like that winds up being the produced nature of stand-up specials, is that we have to do it in a big space, and we have to have these huge sweeping shots, and we have to sort of prove to the viewer, the home viewer, that this person convened so many hundreds of, or thousands of people, and look at them, and let's cut to them laughing, and all of this is a cosign that this person is funny. And to me, the reality of stand-up, you have those shows, but in between all of those shows are smaller shows. They're club shows. They're these small venues that hold maybe 100 people, 200 people at best. And so to capture that, it wasn't going to be these sweeping shots of like, look at this 150 people.
Look at these two wearing the same shirt. And you just splice them throughout the venue.
And so it felt like to capture this properly and in a way that was interesting. Yeah, the way we shot it, I wanted to shoot it. I wanted to make it look pretty, and it really was. I wanted to make all the comedians look pretty.
You did a great job.
Thank you. I mean, there's some of that is their genetics, but I wanted to incorporate all of these split screens and do these things to just make it visually interesting, because yeah, you are watching it at home, and so many times when you're watching a stand-up special, they put you sort of above the audience. Like the camera is not in the crowd, it's above the crowd.
Right.
And so you're kind of removed from it. And it felt like, well, if you're going to be removed from it, why don't I show you the comedian, you know, a profile shot of the comedian and a shot of the crowd at the same time, and you can see them tell the joke as you watch the audience follow the joke, and you can see the moment of laughter that a comedian is looking for as you're also watching the comedian try to set this thing up. And so that seemed like an interesting thing, that, oh, let me show a little bit of
both, the back and forth between the comedian and the audience.
Yeah, and let me show you from different angles, like to one person who's on stage right and one person on stage left, they're seeing this moment in two very different ways.
Right.
And so to me it felt like, oh yeah, let me try to incorporate all that and make it expansive in that way.
Yeah.
Because I'm never gonna outdo Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's fascinating. It's
Thank
great,
you.
and everybody should watch it. Premieres this Thursday, which I think today, because that's when this comes out, right? June 30th on Seeso.
Yes.
And it's awesome.
Thank
I've
you
only
very
watched
much.
2 episodes, but they're both great.
Thank you very much. And yeah, and I think if you sign up for Seeso today, you can get the first month free. So,
Oh.
Yeah, just watch mine.
Binge
and then-
watch, and then you're good.
Yeah, and then you're good. You don't have to. I don't think Seeso wants me to say
That's
that.
probably a bad pitch, but I think people will like it.
Look, I'm just looking out for Dolo. I'm looking out. Yeah.
Wyatt, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me,
I
Katie.
could literally talk to you for 4 hours, so anytime you want to come back.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. Thanks again to Wyatt. As you can probably tell, we ran out of time, so we couldn't get to the garbage 10, which is unfortunate because I wanted to know all his answers, but we kept him here like 20 minutes longer than we were supposed to, and he had a ton of press to do, so I figured it would be more important to talk about cool shit than about hot dogs and sandwiches.
We'll get those answers from him eventually.
Eventually, I'm going to
Yeah.
have him email them to me or send them to me on the Twitter.
Perf.
Whatever. Okay, time for junk mail.
You've got junk mail. 2 junk mail questions today. First one I want your quick answer on. It comes from Bridget at the Bridget Baker, and she asks appropriately for a baker. Is a cheesecake a cake or a pie? I need this answered. Good question from a baker. I feel like she should know, but what do you think?
That's a really good question. I feel like it has the word cake in it,
Right,
so it's cake,
but
it is pie because it has a crust.
right.
So I'm going to say I don't care.
Okay.
I eat it anyway.
Good
Now I'm
answer.
going to say cake,
Okay.
but you don't bake it.
Right.
But you bake a pie. So the no bake doesn't rule out what it would be.
True.
I think it's a pie cake.
Okay, there you have it. It's a pie cake.
So, like, what do you think?
I would go pie. I would lean pie because I feel like it's like the crust and a filling equals pie. There's no like cakey part of it.
Well, unless you're at Cheesecake Factory, in which case sometimes there's like cake in the cheesecake.
See, so then this question's just impossible. Then. They're messing with us.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's more of a pie. But cheese pie sounds fucking gross.
Right.
Also sounds like a thing you order at a pizza place.
Right.
Cheese
So,
pie.
sorry, Bridget. I don't think that helped you much. But
I
think
know,
it's
but like you're the
confusing.
baker, so we're gonna defer to you on that one.
Yeah. Let us know what you think.
I think I'm happy with it. I'm not as outraged at a cheesecake being called cake as I am at a hot dog being called a sandwich. So
Sure.
if it makes things easier because the word cake is in it, for us to call it a cake, I think I can agree with that and not be like, wait, what? But I would say if we're really going strictly based on facts, it's probably a pie.
I'm with you on that.
Cool.
Next question comes from Ryan McLeod. He asks, or he doesn't ask, he demands. Power rank eggs.
Okay, Ryan.
Scrambled, over easy, hard boiled, deviled, soft boiled, omelet.
What's the difference between soft boiled and hard boiled? Is the yolk?
Yeah, soft boiled is like, yeah, the yolk is, I forget what soft boiled
Let's
is.
just take out soft boiled and replace that with poached.
Perfect. Rank egg, scrambled, over easy, hard boiled, deviled, poached, omelet. Go.
It's tough because I like my eggs over medium, and that is not on here.
No.
Go
crazy.
okay, the bottom, deviled, because I don't know. They are all different, and I don't think I've ever actually had one. But isn't it just you take the yolk out, you mix in mayo, and then you put like bacon on it or
You
something?
can put whatever you want on it.
Yeah, so it's like it could be a whole bunch of different shit, but you're taking the unhealthy part of the egg and making it less healthy,
That's a great point.
which is kind of crazy.
Accurate.
So Sorry, people of the world. Deviled eggs are just like the thing that are gross that are brought. If you're bringing deviled eggs to a party, you're like the gross friend.
Yeah.
You brought the mayo egg-based food. I'm cool. Thanks, though. I brought egg salad. Yeah, thanks. So we'll put those at the bottom. I'm sure they're tasty, but too many other eggs to get to. Then we'll put over easy because it's not, well, I guess over easy isn't sunny side up. You flip it over one more time. Yeah, but fine. So sometimes the yolk is too runny for me on an over easy. I like them over medium, like I said. So not really into that. Then we're going to put, then we'll put hard boiled because they're good, but I don't eat them like as an egg. I usually eat it like in a salad or like I don't eat those for breakfast. When we went to Boston for the shoot for the Big Poppy Bench, and me, Garrett, and Matt went, the hotel we stayed at had like a dumb breakfast bar that was like, okay, you've got your cereals, you've got this, you've got yogurt, and then a gigantic just bowl of hard-boiled eggs. And we all separately at separate times were like, what the fuck? It's not the same as like have our egg buffet. No. It's like take an egg for the road. People were taking like 6 eggs. Yeah. It was very strange. Yeah. Side note. Then we're going to go, omelets are good, but people do them weird now. Like they don't put enough egg or they don't put, like it's just too much ingredient. Yeah. But a really good omelet is really good. So I guess I'll go poached because that means I'm probably eating a Benedict. That's what at that point I like a runny yolk because it provides, because I usually get hollandaise on the side, so it provides like the sauce for the food. You guys are nodding like I'm making any sort of sense. Yeah. So then we'll go omelet, and then we'll go scrambled. Did I get everything?
Yeah, you got it. You got it all.
I'm so exhausted with power rankings.
People love it from me.
I don't understand why.
They just love hearing the way you rank foods and other things, and they just can't
get
enough of it.
Truth be told, I'll take any of those eggs at any time of day and be perfectly content. I fucking love eggs. Breakfast is my favorite meal of the day.
Yeah.
Want me to power rank meals, you fucking gluttons? I like breakfast at the top, then we go dinner, then lunch. Fuck lunch. Lunch is the dumbest. Also, just a quick shout out to someone who we can't name.
Yeah.
We got a junk mail question this week. Again, we can't name them. Is coffee with cocoa instead of sugar still coffee? Was the original question. Cocoa spelled C-O-C-C-O. To which I'm like, I don't even understand what that question means. No. Quick follow-up tweet from that person. Don't use my name. So, to answer your question, anonymous, I don't understand your question. So, sorry, we can't use your name. It's the weirdest.
Yeah, it's also...
Like, people on Twitter say, like, crazy shit, and I get it. Those are the ones that scare me the most. Yeah. When you're like, what is this place where people can contact me?
Yeah, also, dude, I'm sorry, person whose name we can't say, but when you tweet at us, we can see your name, and so can the rest of the world.
Like, if people were to go on Twitter, not that I'm suggesting this, and search, is coffee with C-O-C-C-O instead of sugar still coffee, they could find your name.
Yeah.
Unless
don't be embarrassed by
that. And
that.
also, you made your Twitter name your actual full name. So, like, if you're so concerned about hiding your name, you could make it like Nice Tit 69. I get plenty of tweets from those guys.
Yeah, dude.
But you made your name Bleep Bleep Junior. So, I mean, that was your choice. Yeah. Anyway, that's it, guys. That's not my name. Don't use my name. Don't tweet at us if you don't want us to use your name. Yeah, but that's it for the podcast. No podcast next week since we're off / on hiatus for the holiday. There will be a garbage time, though, Wednesday at midnight, our usual time. We had Larry King in here a couple weeks ago to do an interview that we were hoping to use in the show, like our usual 4 or 5 minute segment. It's Larry King, so we talked at length about a lot of cool shit, and he told me a lot of great stories, so we decided that next week we're going to put out an entire garbage time episode that's just me and Larry King talking. So very interesting stuff. So you can have that. It's kind of like a podcast because it's like a longer form interview. But there won't be a podcast. Go watch the TV show. But still be sure to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes if you haven't yet. What are you waiting for? Rate it, leave a comment, but only if the comment is really, really nice. And only if the rating is 5 stars. 4.5 if you want. I get it if you don't watch The Bachelorette. That would be fair. 4.5. But Dave's face says no. We got to make sure it's 5. Okay, 5 or else we get fired. Dave doesn't eat if we don't get a 5-star rating. So make sure we get a 5-star rating.
Boiled eggs for me.
You can also listen to this podcast on Google Play, Art19, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or if you have one of those KitchenAid standing mixers that's on your counter. Good for you, because those are like $500, but you can get the podcast there, I'm pretty sure.
Awesome.
They have one of those attachments. There's the pasta maker attachment. the ice cream attachment, and then there's the podcast attachment. Thanks again to Wyatt Cenac. He was fantastic. Thank you to producer Dave.
Thank you.
And to producer Ashley. And to the Bachelorette. And to all of you guys for listening. Bye. Love you. Mean it.
Hi, this is Lori Grenier. You've seen me on Shark Tank. Throughout my career, I've developed hundreds of innovative products. The most rewarding part has been creating the ones that make people's lives easier. That's what Kabbage does for small business owners. Kabbage has developed a simple and flexible way for business owners to get a line of credit of up to $100,000. Apply online or from your phone. You will get a decision in minutes and can start using your funds immediately. There are no fees to set up your line, and you pay nothing until you take a loan. Kabbage has provided over $2 billion in funding to 80,000 small businesses. Kabbage customers use their line many times a year for marketing, hiring, inventory, or any business needs that come up. Kabbage is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and has been named a Forbes Top 100 company twice in a row. So visit Kabbage.com or call 888-KABBAGE. That's Kabbage with a K, Kabbage. Make Kabbage your first resort for business funding.